Hello, beautiful ladies. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm grateful you're here or that you're going to watch later. And today we are talking about easing back into life after this winter. And we're going to really talk about what opening back up looks like and what it's like to do it without losing yourself. Sometimes the hardest part about coming back into balance isn't rest, it's trust. And so, really connecting with ourselves can help build that trust. Many of us have opened up back before and it cost us. So, the goal tonight is to really look at what it is that we're worried about when we are opening back up. And if you have been watching this series, opening back up is from re-engaging from this winter. And this winter was utilized to really help us nurture ourselves and rest, just like the earth rests. And so now that the sun is up longer and it's getting warmer, at least here in Utah, it's kind of interesting because of our winter, but it's really giving us that opportunity to proactively and consciously open back up to saying yes to things. So, some of the things that can come up as we think about this is if we say yes too quickly, or if we overcommit ourselves, becoming the emotional support for everyone. And this might be a pattern of people pleasing that you may have had or currently have, slipping back into performance mode and losing time for yourself. So if part of you is hesitant to re-engage, it doesn't mean that you're stuck. It means that you learned something. And your body and your mind is telling you kind of beware. So your nervous system remembers burnout, and it remembers what it feels like to be depleted. And it remembers when certain connections feel unsafe. So now, before it lets you fully open up again, it wants proof that it will be different this time. And this isn't resistance. This is intelligence. This is our intuitiveness. And it really is a form of communication. And it's interesting how when we have these certain feelings or emotions come up, we view it as something wrong with us or something's not right. And we might find ways of stifling that or numbing that. But it really is a precious communication that we have with ourselves. So when previously you might have been overwhelmed, our systems may have gone into fight, which is over functioning. It may have gone into flight, which is busyness or productivity or distractions. It can also have gone into fawn, which is the people pleasing, and it is a way of not listening to ourselves. Or it could have gone into freeze, where we actually shut down. And sometimes when we get sick or an illness, that can also be the body's way of shutting us down. So as we look at re-engaging outwardly, we can have triggers such as feeling anxious or tightness in the chest. You can suddenly feel fatigued. You can feel irritated or overthinking. So it's important to remember that opening back up is not just a decision, but it is a nervous system event. And when we open up, we want to be balanced. And that balance requires safety and awareness and self-trust and regulation, not motivation or force. So an old outward energy may have looked like saying yes automatically. And this is a good one because it is pretty common to say yes when someone asks you something or needs something of you. And it can just be an automatic response. It could be a conditioned response that we have. Outward energy can also look like the desire of being needed and feeling important. Being productive is a big one. It's what did you accomplish today or last week or last year? It could also show up as being the strong one. You can also have old energy or outward energy of giving until there's nothing left to give. And this may be something that you experience at home or at work or in a community or someplace that you have a commitment. And it also old outward energy is not checking in with your body and not having that body-mind connection. New balanced outward energy looks like pausing before saying yes. And this one's hard. It's hard to take that second and pause, and it takes practice and it takes awareness, and it is powerful. Pausing and connecting in with yourself. Is this something I should do? And answering it honestly. You also want to check if your capacity is really there and be honest with yourself. Is this commitment or this ask something you can actually do? And sometimes that's asking clarifying questions. Tell me more about it, or what's your expectation? And then really tapping in and seeing if that's something that you have capacity for. It is the new balanced outward energy is also shortening commitments. If something's not working out, it's okay to be done. Leaving early if you need to. Making sure that you're really connected, and sometimes you need a plan for this. If you're going with somebody and they're going to want to stay and you think you might need to leave, having a way home, having some pre-planning involved in that. And another way of looking at balanced outward energy is really resting after connection. Sometimes that connection can be very depleting for us, especially if the person that we just connected with is going through something traumatic or stressful or hard, or even a lot of people. If you connected at a family event or a community event and you just really need to rest and tap in with yourself, it's very, very loving to do that. And another way that looking at new balanced outward energy is letting others hold themselves. We don't have to be the fixers for everybody. Sometimes that actually does more damage to the person and to ourselves. It's a way of enabling people. So listening to someone as they're going through something, and then just, supporting them in making the best decision for themselves, or figuring it out and telling them that, wow, that sounds like it's something really hard you're going through, but I know you're going to make the right decision for you. And that's just so empowering. And it's telling them that they can do it. And sometimes that's just what we need from people. Not to be fixed, but to be told, you've got this. You're going to get this all figured out. And supporting them in that way. And then you're not taking on any energy. You're not taking on their challenge. They're able to do it. And that's just so loving for you and for them. You don't have to stop being generous, but you have to stop abandoning yourself. And all of these things that we just talked about are a form of abandonment, or really aligning with what your needs are. So when you think about saying yes, what happens in your body? Does your breath change? Do you feel your shoulders tense? Do you feel expansion or contraction? That is the balance in your body. That is your body talking to you, telling you right away. It's so amazing what our bodies tell us when we're able to see it and feel it. Feeling, right? Feeling is the scary part, but trust it. She's smart. She's absolutely smart. And it is so powerful to trust yourself. So I invite you to sit comfortably wherever you're at and feel relaxed. And put one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And then take a long inhale through your nose. And slowly exhale longer than your inhale. And that exhale, that long exhale, tells your nervous system that you're safe. And ask yourself, you can say it out loud or say it in your head, what kind of connection feels nourishing right now? What kind feels draining? Where do you feel openness? And where do you feel caution? And let whatever comes up first be your answer to those questions. Don't let your mind override and take over, or tell yourself you're wrong, or justify. Just trust that first answer. So, as women, generally, we manage our time. We fit in as much as we can. We have these checklists, whether it's an actual checklist or if it's a checklist in your mind. But very few of us manage our energy. Right? You're going to complete that checklist even if you're exhausted. So, balanced outward engagement means looking at your week and asking you, where is my energy the highest? What brings you the most excitement? What time of the day? Those are some great questions. And then scheduling connection when you're resourced. If you're scheduling a lunch date with a good friend, with good friends every day of the week, that can really be overwhelming. But really paying attention to your schedule and where things fit is very nurturing. Balanced outward engagement also means avoiding stacking draining commitments. If there's something that you're taking part in and you know it's going to take your energy, it's so important to recover from that. But if you're going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, that can really be overwhelming. And a good example of that is, activities that maybe you're doing with your children or with your partner, to where you're just jumping from one thing to the next. Give yourself space and time to balance that. Balanced outward energy also means protecting that decompression time. That's sacred time. It is just as valuable as the activity that you did. And that means not filling every open space in your schedule, to actually allow yourself to rest and recover. And give yourself that permission and do that proudly. There needs to be more conversations that we have with each other, to where we're like, wow, I watched a movie and I absolutely loved it and didn't fold any laundry or didn't do anything extra. That's just wonderful to have that downtime for us. Your energy is your most valuable currency, and you need to spend it where it returns to you. Have you ever viewed energy as currency? That's powerful. Not money or time, but your energy. So some great examples of this is one meaningful dinner instead of 3 obligations. A short coffee instead of a long lunch. Walking meeting instead of a sitting one. That's beautiful. Some of the best conversations I have are out on hikes. And it's not a phone call, it's not a meeting. It's just beautiful. And a social event with an exit plan. This I have practiced and it works. It's so powerful. So powerful. And when I initially started doing it, I was so afraid what other people would think of me if I was leaving early. Would they think I was mad? Would they think I didn't like them? No, it was me doing what I needed to do for myself. And it's so powerful to listen to that. So we're going to talk about boundaries a little bit. So boundaries aren't, these brick walls that we set up around ourselves or around our families. It really is a form of regulation. They're not walls. Boundaries are not rejection. They're not punishment, and they're not distance. There was a conversation that I had a couple weeks ago where the person I was talking to said that they'd set up a boundary with one of their family members. And it was really interesting because it was a situation that I don't think she felt safe in. But the way that the intent was to bring pain and disconnect with that person versus a healthy boundary. And it's interesting how they can feel like rejection, but when boundaries are done well, it's very healthy. It's a communication of capacity. It's a statement of where you're at and what you're able to do or not do. It's also protecting your nervous system, and it is self-respect in action. Boundaries allow you to stay open without collapsing. So I have some examples. One of them is I can stay for an hour. That is powerful. And saying it right off the bat so they know what your time limit is. Another way of saying it is, or another example is, I'm not available for that right now. It has nothing to do if you like them or are afraid of disappointing them, that you're not available. I'm not available for this right now. Another is, let me check my week and get back to you. And that can give you time to really think about what that commitment looks like for you. Or just plainly, that doesn't work for me. That's all healthy. It's all communication. It's all valuing yourself. And you don't need to justify any of it. You don't need to give an excuse. You don't need to give a story on why. You just need to speak your truth. And that's just powerful. In fact, when people tell me they're unavailable without the story, because when you start doing a story, it almost feels like an excuse. So just the statement is just powerful, just absolutely powerful. So I invite you to, in your mind, or if you have a piece of paper or a journal, to write. We're going to journal a few things, and I'm going to put them in the comments. So the first one is, what kind of connection feels nourishing right now? As you think about that. And then the next one is, what situation still feels activating? Is there something coming up that you're worried about, or it's causing you stress? What situation still feels activating? And then the next one, where do you need to move slower? Hmm. And this one is very powerful. But what boundary would protect my balance? What would that look like? And the final, what does enough look like for you this week? Balance is built in small choices. Smallness is powerful. And I want to share with you a personal learning or awareness that I had. So I've been getting prepared to do this workshop here on Facebook. And there's a lot of work going into it. And I've been doing this series with you guys. I keep pushing back the date and pushing back the date. And one of my mentors, I was talking to her about it, and she just brought to my awareness, she just said, what if you go from a 5-day workshop to a 3-day workshop? And I was like, oh my gosh, it literally, I felt like a ton of bricks came off my shoulders. And I just felt so empowered and so re-energized. And I was so grateful that she had that intuitiveness to share that with me. And that's something that I can do right now. That's something that makes me excited. Doesn't mean I'm not cutting it short or not giving it my all, because those 3 days are going to be amazing. But it was wonderful. So what does that look like for you as these burdens? It felt like a burden. As these burdens or these asks or these things that you want to do feel so overwhelming, how can you adjust it? What is that boundary? And for me, it was a time. It was too much time. So powerful. So these last 3 weeks, we've really talked about in session 1 to honor where we are. And then session 2, we talked about noticing when we're ready to start becoming more open. And then today, we talked about re-engaging way differently than we may have in the past. You don't have to choose between being inward or outward. You get to move between both with awareness. And another kind of way of looking at this, and I don't know if many of you have heard of masculine and feminine energy, but we have it in us. We all, men do and women do. And the masculine energy is your to-do list. It is getting things done. It is survival, it is food on the table, money in the bank. And the feminine energy is the flow and the adaption and the creativity and the fluidness of things and not being so rigid, but living in a flow. And we need both. We need both of those. And last year I talked a lot about this because I had had a experience where I totally learned I was in the masculine energy. And this year of flipping to more of a balance was really uncomfortable, but I have so much more joy, just so much more joy in all the things that I do. I'm less masculine in my job, and I have way more flow in my job and way more creativity. And at home, same. It's just so powerful when we're able to really have that awareness and that intuitiveness of not go, go, go all the time, but sitting and resting and thinking and tapping in to what we need. And so, some really powerful affirmations that you can say to yourself is, I can rest without guilt. I can connect without losing myself. I trust my rhythm. I trust my body. So powerful. As we wrap up the series, a few really exciting things, and I did post it on my personal page, but I will be doing a 3-day workshop the last week of this month. We're going to start on Tuesday. I think it's the 20, let me look real quick. The 24th. And we'll start those at 6 o'clock. So the 25th on Wednesday, I'll be doing that workshop instead of this Facebook Live. And it is exciting. It's really an opportunity. If this is this transformational work is something that you have more interest in or want to learn more about, we'll be talking a lot about that. And I also, if you're here in Utah, I live in South Jordan, I will be doing a women's circle next Friday, and that's at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 at my house. And it's limited spots, and they are filling up fast. So if that's something that you'd like to come and explore or have questions about, please message me and let me have the opportunity to make you excited about it. It's amazing, amazing opportunity. And then the other thing is, my husband and we did this shamangelic breathwork training together this past summer. And we will be doing breathwork here in our home also. And it is going to be a co-ed, so it will be men and women are invited. There potentially could be just women if these series start taking off. We will add additional classes, but I will be posting all of this here so that if you're interested or want to sign up, you can let me know. And breath work is one of the most transformational modalities that I've done personally. It's so powerful and so healing, and you learn a lot about it when we do it. We educate on what's actually happening in your body when you have that experience. So if you have more questions about it or are curious, I would love to answer them. And I'd love to have your feedback always. Don't be afraid to give me feedback. I am counting on it and rely on it. I want to make sure that the things that we're talking about here are beneficial and supportive to you. I'm really looking forward to spring and the creativity part of us, and just seeing what we can share with each other as we explore coming into spring, and really tapping into our younger selves. Our creativity sometimes can be lost as we work and become moms or have other duties. So it's really our inner child, that we'll be tapping into. And it's just so beautiful to do that. It's so much fun too. So, again, thank you so much for being here, you beautiful ladies. I'm just excited to keep doing these lives. I really look forward to it. And again, love connecting with you and hearing your thoughts. So I hope you all have a beautiful rest of your week and weekend. And I will see you next Wednesday. Have a good one.